just let's talk about this PRP and what exactly, is platelet-rich plasma. Correct me if I'm wrong. From what I know is, you take your blood, we take the oxygen out of the blood, you spin it through a centrifuge, and then you put it back via an injection into your scalp. Now, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but as a medical doctor, maybe you can give me some insight and kind of go down what the heck is this PRP all about?
Very good, Jay. Well, you have the same amount of logic that I have. What the difference between me and you, or me and any other patient out there that's not a medical doctor, the only difference is about 8 years worth of learning in a book. That's
Yep.
the biggest difference. Logic, you've got just as much logic as I have. Take oxygen out of blood and you spin it around and you put it in your head. I have no idea how that would work, Jay. The reason why I spent 8 years in school and learning from those books, because I wanted to understand how things work. And
Yep.
Jay, we're the first company on earth that understands how it works. That's why
Well,
our program works every time, because we understand how hair loss happens at the molecular level. We no longer look at the mirror, guess what's happening. The
well,
PRP is injecting something into your head and guessing how it might work. It's never
well.
going to work, Jay.
So speaking of some logic, let's talk a little bit about the Nile River and people's blood and how, you know, there needs to be. I hope that blood is operating very efficiently before you take it and inject it. Like, let's talk about first the bloodstream, why it's important, and then maybe we can go into you know the analogies of fertilizers versus pesticides. But why, if there's a damaged root system, you could put all that stuff on your head and it's not going to make a difference.
Okay, Jay, that's a lot that we went over there. So let's just start with the Nile River, and
Yep.
then you can direct the traffic from the Nile River. The PRP is actually dipping into where the solution does come from. They're dipping into the Nile River. Your bloodstream, everything inside of you is made of, it has the blood system on the inside. The bloodstream is on the inside, and that's what feeds the cells on the outside. So your Nile River is exactly what I examine when we look at your blood work. I'm looking at every single thing that's inside that blood, and I want magic parameters and ranges of every single molecule that you have. And taking something out of your bloodstream and spinning it around and injecting it is the most nonsensical thing that I've ever heard of.
But like you said previously, that there's two types of people, right? There's people that believe in science and research, and there's people that are just kind of go with the flow. I,
Well, right now we're talking about the river, and we're talking about PRP and how PRP just takes blood out of your system, but it doesn't even evaluate what's inside the blood. We take out your blood, Jay. We send it to a laboratory full of professional scientists, measure every single molecule using
yeah.
X-rays. I look at all and all the ranges, and I tell you from those numbers how to make your body the best body that you can possibly have on earth. So it's not just for hair, right? Hair is the first thing. We're going to treat cancer, we're going to treat every disease, Jay, because everything starts from the inside is what feeds the outside. And if you
Yep.
read Leviticus, the life of the flesh is where, Jay?
In the
In
blood.
the blood.
That's it. Yep.
It's in the
And
blood.
that that's exactly it. And unfortunately, the majority of Americans are, they suffer from, type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease, heart disease. So the hair program is, it's nice to have thick hair. It's nice to not have those thinning areas. It's nice to have all the attributes, the increased libido, the weight loss, the hormone balance and all that stuff. But in the end, it's nice not to be a statistic and not have to be, someone in their 70s with a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes or, heart disease or something like that. And a lot of people that walking around, I believe, are even on that cusp of that A1C being above 5.5 or something. There, a lot of people walking around are pre-diabetic, don't even know about it.
Come in, Jay. I say to them, for me to grow your hair, I have to create the best version of you on earth. What people don't understand is, Jay, you remake your entire body every day. Almost every 2 weeks, you'll have a new coat of skin. Every 3 months, you'll have new organs.
Yep.
So you realize you are what you eat. Everything that you're made of comes from your nutrition. So we
Yep.
have an entire nutrition department that put together how to work on the nutrition metrics inside your body. Don't just get hair, Jay. I could have stopped right there. I could give
Yep.
you the capsule and can grow your hair. I said,
Sure.
no, you, Jay, you deserve better. 86% of Americans are overweight and out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Only 5% of Americans, 5% are healthy.
Yep.
5%.
Now,
And I'm trying to grow hair, Jay,
yep.
on the other 96%. No,
Now,
so
here,
very nice, Jay. They get educated and they start to make better decisions. The type 2 diabetes come from bad habits, parents and your friends.
now here's something interesting. Let's take two people. We'll say Larry and Joe. Larry comes in, not so good lifestyle, not so good with his diet, not that didn't get the best DNA handed down from his parents. He goes on the program, he takes his capsule, he does his topical, but still he's eating at, in and out, he's grabbing those processed foods. Then you take, the other guys, say Joe, whatever, and he's like really working the program. He's increasing his HDL fats. He's eating a lot of avocados and nuts and staying away from everything processed. Now, wouldn't it make sense and increasing his protein levels like on your program that you recommend that we'll go into some other episode? Wouldn't it make sense coupled with the hair capsule supplementation that the hair will actually grow at a more rapid rate from that bloodstream with that increased protein coupled with that versus the guy that's not doing that just on the capsule? Can you dive into that just for a sec? Because it makes sense to
Yeah.
me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, once we evaluate your unique biochemistry, and then once we rebalance your biochemistry, we're finished with our part of the job, Jay. Then it becomes you.
Yeah.
You've got to work on you. And we do our best to coach you up, Jay. We try to coach you up, but we can't coach them all up, Jay. Some of them continue with those hard. So at the end of a year, who has the best results? The person who did everything right, Jay. That makes logical sense, right? We had a gentleman that came in today at 6 months after a hair transplant. And after a hair transplant, you damage the blood supply. It usually takes them longer to grow hair. So the hair transplant was a mess. He was very unhappy with that. After 3 years, he looks like he has less hair. So I said, no problem. Grow your hair if you take care of your nutrition. At 6 months, he had a ton of hair. He's going to be on the marketing campaign. If they follow you, we'll post it and they can see the before and after that came in today.
Yep.
And at the end of the year, started with a 5.5 A1C. At the end of the year is a 5.7 A1C. Yeah. Hey, doc, my hair is slowly growing, but it is still growing, I said. Yeah. Imagine that. I can grow hair in sugar water. I grow hair in sugar water, Jay. When you think about what we do, we look at your bloodstream, and when we take out your blood is your Nile River, right? So we look, what percentage of sugar are you putting in there? 5% is the maximum percentage. What putting in of good fat? 60 is our number. What percent of protein? 7.5 is our number. Go ask the other hair loss doctors, what are their percentage?
Well, I don't think they care. So that's the thing, right?
It's about understanding. It's knowledge. They don't know, Jay. If they knew, because there's a ton of money where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I understand. And,
love to be sitting where we're sitting, Jay.
Yep. And one last thing, someone asked the question this week when I was talking during a consultation was with the hair capsule, is sometimes, if there is that genetic enzyme, inherited, there needs to be, a prescription element to change it, which is good that we have that technology and modern medicine and everything. But also there are certain things that certain people are lacking in their diets that it's difficult to get in the modern, food system. So you'll actually go and tweak those, like which type of things that are hard to get in people, from the food industry that you add to the capsule? Because that was a question.
Jay, we're going to have to talk to our manager to make sure that I can give away this information, because you're
Yeah.
asking me to give away part of the Nettle Essentials, which is inside the oral capsule. Hey, doctor,
is it aminos? Is it folic acid? Is it like what kind of
hold
thing?
on, Jay. Jay, you're saying, hold on, doctor. You're saying, hold on. You say the hair loss physicians in the United States are called derma. The number one recommended topical is Rogaine, and I'm going to show you why that molecule will never work, Jay. And I had a 4-year-old son of a patient that told us why it doesn't work. He said because an elephant is not a fish. Yeah. And that's precisely why Rogaine and minoxidil and Keeps and Hims and all that generic nonsense they're selling for $50 a month, never going to work. 4-year-old Jay, he said, doctor, it's because the elephant is not a fish. And I'm going to show you that slide.
Okay.
But the other thing I'm going to talk about is, so the hair loss physician in the United States, number one oral is something called Nutrafol. What is Nutrafol? It's all the nutritional stuff that you can put inside a capsule tell you may work. Jay, I found what's inside nutrition that work. And you're asking me to give it away on your podcast. And I can't just give it away, but I'll tell you, it did come from an onion. And I know that people are putting onion juice there, but it's not the entire onion. There's a molecule called quercetin.
So when people come in for that part 2, and you'll read them their results from the biochemical report card, you will divulge all that information to them in the report, right?
Jay, I'm going to more. There are things called amino acids. Amino acids make up protein. All the proteins in the universe are made of one of 20 amino acids. 9 of those amino acids are essential. Two of those, Jay, are found in the hair follicle. Which 2 are those? Methionine and lysine. Okay. What is not in most of the food supply that people are eating, Jay? Those 2 amino acids. If you do not get those two essential amino acids into your body, and the hair is comprised of those 2 essential amino acids, if you other 18, you will never grow hair. So we make sure we take care of the nutritional deficit, which is all over the United States in their food supply. So you now have lysine, methionine, quercetin, Jay. Let me show you a couple of slides, and I'll share a little bit more with you.
Sounds good.
Okay, Jay. So nutrition and science. So in our capsule, you don't get just Nutrafol. You don't get just science Propecia. And I'll tell you why Propecia's finasteride doesn't work as well, Jay. It's half hours. If you worked 6 hours in a 24-hour, probably fire you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Propecia and finasteride work 6 hours a day, Jay. They should fire them. But what's the number one prescription in the United States writes for? Finasteride. Yeah, and now they're writing for dutasteride, and neither one are going to work, Jay. It's not used. There's no molecule that works. It's first looking at your bloodstream to find out what does your bloodstream need, what is your bloodstream deficient in. Capsule is based on you. No molecule goes in the capsule until your body needs. So here, Jay, you'll see. So that's the capsule going on the inside. That's going to rebalance your body. Jay, I've got to create a new enzyme inside your body using my formula. We create a new enzyme that goes and finds the defective hair cell, kicks out reprograms a new hair cell for 9 years. And I'm trying to explain this to someone coming in who was just told PRP is going to work.
Yeah, well.
So no, PRP is an injectable on top of your head that comes from mesotherapy. Mesotherapy was developed in 1952 by Dr. Michael Pistor. How do I know that, Jay? I was trained by the person he trained. Paris, France, and I traveled all around the world. I've trained in Australia and in Switzerland and France. So I went to France to learn mesotherapy. What does that mean? Anytime you inject any substance into the middle layer of the skin, it's called mesotherapy. PRP is a mesotherapy. We were injecting scalps 20 years ago. We found out it never worked. So we stopped doing it. PRP and a marketing arm sells people injections on your scalp is some miraculously change your genetics. And that's not possible.
Well, and it's still not identifying and changing and solving the cause. That's the thing. So,
The first thing is cause, Jay. What is
yeah,
the underlying cause? And that
yep,
comes from evaluating the blood work
yep,
using our algorithm.
yep,
So you're right. So there's an inside and there's an outside.
yep,
So the best way to look at it, I always think of pesticides and fertilizers, right?
yep,
If I want grass, I would use a fertilizer. PRP is telling people I'm a fertilizer.
yeah,
Fertilizer will grow hair, but what about the pest that was eating your grass from the inside, Jay?
yep. That's
You need, hey, will the fertilizer go in double duty and become a pesticide, Jay? No.
right.
You need a pesticide. So the pesticide is the internal component. So
Yep,
we put people on, and once that stops things, then you can grow things.
yep,
After you grow things, you can then stop the growing and keep it by maintaining on the inside. So that's the grass analogy. Another thing to think about, this is the 4-year-old slide, Jay. This is the 4-year-old that knows more than most people in the United States of America. He said to me, hey, doctor, minoxidil and Rogaine works on the E receptor. I said, young man, give me something that starts with an E. He said, elephant. I said, great.
yeah.
Our molecule that we use is latanoprost. Costs about $500,000, and that's why it works every single time. I said, give me an animal with an fish.
Yep,
I said, is an elephant a fish? He said, absolutely not, doctor.
yeah, yep.
So the E receptor, Jay, will the E receptor ever become an F receptor? The answer is no. Okay, this is
Yep.
logic again.
How many people that have started your program has this not worked for?
Jay, every single person that comes in on Stop and Regrow's program and stays with us at the end of the year will see the evidence.
Yep.
So every single person that's stayed with us has always grown hair. We grow our company by referrals.
Yep.
I think you guys are doing some podcasts, some Instagram and some Facebook and Google people are coming in. I think we're about to shut that door and make this a referral only a part of the business, because it's nice to talk to people that understand, Jay. I've taught science for the last 20 years to people with very little science education. So pretty much from now on, we're going to each one refer one. So if you want to come to us, you can find us.
Yep. Yep. That's a good idea. So what is the single most important thing then? I mean, I know the answer to this. Someone's on the fence. Is it just come in, book the assessment, get the blood work
That's
done.
not it.
I mean, or call for the consultation and then, get booked for your assessment, and then you'll send them for blood work, and then that's it. We'll find out what their cause is, and then take it from there. Like I tell people, forget about growing anything, forget about regrowth. You want to find out the cause and stop anything else from happening to turn around the biochemistry. Like, the Nettles Essential program just is to figure out what's happening, stop it, work on that diet, work on, with your supplement need be, and then we'll worry about reversing that biochemistry and topical. Like first thing is get that blood work is the most important thing. But sometimes
Jay,
deciding is the hardest thing to do, making the change.
you're right, Jay. So I think the first thing I want everybody to do that's listening to you, I want them to look into the mirror right now. Look into the mirror. Ask yourself this question.
Yeah.
Do I know what causes my hair loss? And once you hear the answer is no, I'm going to look into your mirror for you. Do I know the cause of your hair loss? The answer is yes.
A lot of people.
The only way you're going to get hair, Jay, is to find us. So I think we've got a following on this TikTok. I don't know the channel. I'm going to know it. But there's a hair loss doctor on there. And if you look at his zones 1 and 3, the hair loss doctor, most popular, is about to have hair loss. So we're going to see him pretty soon too, Jay. So everybody can find us. Our company's called Stop Hair Loss and Regrow Hair. Stop and Regrow.
Go to the website, stopandregrow.com, and then book a consultation, talk to someone. We do FaceTime, we do Zoom, we do telephone calls, we do pretty much everything. And then get them to that assessment to get the blood work done. So thanks, Doc. Thanks for your time. I know you're busy. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you again soon on the podcast.
You got it, Jay. Thank you very much for what you're doing. I appreciate you taking the job to help others. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. You have a blessed day, and we'll talk soon.
You as well, my friend.